A writer from Maine is out with her first novel, which is always an exciting event. The book is called The Moorings of Mackerel Sky. It's by MZ, which is the pen name for Emily Zach, who's with us here on 207. Thanks for coming in. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're just beaming. I love that you are so excited about being here talking about your first book.
Yes, I am. I'm really, really excited. This is a dream come true for me.
How long have you had the dream? When did you first start thinking, you know, I want to be a writer. I want a book that goes out before the public?
Since I was a little girl, I've always loved writing. I've always been a storyteller. It's how I taught my classes at King for 20 years, and I just love telling stories, so since I was very young.
You taught at King Middle School in Portland for 20 years. We'll get back to that in a sec, but you've got an interesting background that brings together a lot of different strands of storytelling. You've been very involved in dance. You taught students, and you got storytelling into the classroom. You taught or took creative fiction classes.
Yep.
Theater. How did that all work in putting together a novel?
Well, I'm a very creative person, and in creating this novel was kind of like planting a garden. I planted these different seeds, and the way I view words is similar to being a dancer. Like I view how they go on the page and how they dance together. And so having all of these different venues and opportunities to share who I am really helped to create this holistic, beautiful book that incorporates every part of who I am.
The book has a Maine setting.
Yep.
But it's a different kind of Maine story. Elements of fantasy and magic that come in. What's the basic premise of The Moorings of Mackerel Sky?
Well, it's a mackerel sky, which I found out that a lot of people from Maine don't know what it is. And a mackerel sky is when you look up to the sky and the clouds are a similar shape to fish scales. And so I really liked that premise of the sea reflecting the sky and the sky reflecting the water. And my mom told me about a mackerel sky. And so my childhood, growing up in Jonesport, Maine in the summers and running around barefoot on the Maine coast, I really wanted to honor that and put the love for that into this book. And so I took that idea of the sky and the sea reflecting each other and just extended it a little bit more into the fantastical, and are there or aren't there mermaids in the depths of the Maine coast.
The story takes place in a town that was founded by a sea captain who fell in love with a mermaid and abandoned the sea so that he could be on land with the mermaid. What was the idea for that? Or why did you think that you could pull this off? Because there are plenty of books that have been written, novels that have been written about life on the Maine coast, but incorporating mermaids and incorporating that element of fantasy is different. Why did you think you could pull it off?
Well, I really liked the idea of the power of true love that could take this man who was a sea captain, and he just wanted to be out in the ocean, and that is what actually gave him roots, was a mermaid. And then, so how would that actually work with the town? Would this be a positive relationship? Would this be a negative relationship? And, you know, would it ultimately work out?
It's a balancing act, though, that you had to pull off, because there's also some really gritty, true-to-life stuff here in this book. And that was something that you clearly felt was important to get in there?
It's very important to me. All of my books have a strong basis in reality, and I really want to honor Maine people and some of the struggles that we have. So you'll see opiate addiction is in this book. You'll see the realities of being a coastal seafaring town, of actually having people who go out and they work in the water. There's not that necessarily everyone isn't going to come back. And so that idea that people live and work this tenaciously and this tough job, I really liked playing with that balancing act of what is it like to live and work on the sea and how dangerous that is. And then what if you took that a little bit more, a little bit further, and added a fantastical element to it.
That is what you have done in The Moorings of Mackerel Sky by MZ. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you being here. If you'd like more information on the book or the author, just head to the 207 section of our app or website and stick around. We're going to be back right after this.